Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's begin chanting one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatare Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 33. Does anyone need to go first? Please raise your hand if you need to go first. You want to go? Okay, Madhava. 9:33. Yeah. तथा अनित्यम असुखम लोकम yom prapya pudasvamam. How much more of this is so? How much more this is so? How much more this is so after this brahmanas?
the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Yes. So we'll go in order. Achyut Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj.
Dandavad Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Mataji.
Kim Brahmana Punya Bhakta Rajasayastata Anityam Ashukam Lokam Imam Prapya Bhajasvamam. Translation and preprint given by his Bhakti. Srila Prabhupada. Translation: how much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. So, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Achintadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat, Prabhuji. Kim punar brahmana punya
Kim punar brahmana punya
bhakta rajarshayas
bhakta rajasya tatha
anityam asukham lokam
anityam ashukam lokam
imam prapya bhajasva mam.
imam prapya bhajasvamam. Translation: how much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come in the temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarsayastata anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Hare Krishna, unto me.
Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajasayastata
Anityam
Nityam
asukham
Sukam
lokam.
Imam Prapya Bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Yeah. Inbanya is here? No. So Krishna Ashish, Isha, Madhva, Rasapriya. Isha ka.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajasya anityam sukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Rasapriya.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarsayastata anityam sukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary and miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Krishna Ashish.
Punar brahmana bhakta rajarshayastata anityam sukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Yeah. Next, Kalpesh Prabhu and Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajasya tata anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasya mam. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings, therefore having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Mataji, Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Punar Brahmana Punya Bhakta Rajarsayastata Anityam Asukham Lokam Imam Prapya Bhajasvamam. Translation: how much more this is so of righteous brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Next, if you go in alphabetical order, Narasimha Leela Prabhu, or if you prefer to be in the end, whichever way. Narasimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, so Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Kim punarbrahmanaha punya bhakta rajarshayah
Rajarshayas Tatha.
Anityam anusukham
Asukham.
Anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Translation: how much more this is so of righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajasyyastatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Suhrit.
Brahmana Punya Bhakta Rajrashya Tata Anityam Asukam Lokam Imam Prapya Bhajasvamam. Translation: how much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Kim Punar Brahmana Punya Bhakta Rajasyas Tata Tata Anityam Asukam Lokam Iham Prapya Bhajasvamam. Translation: how much more this is of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporarily miserable world, engage in loving service into me.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Saujanya Mataji. Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Santosh to Srila Prabhupada, and to Siddhas and the devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajashrayas tatha anityam ashukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Did anyone not recite? Everyone has recited. I'll also recite. Bhagavad Gita 9:33. Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarshayas anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. How much more so? How much more so? How much more this is so? How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this miserable temporary world, engage in loving service unto me. Let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 24. And the chapter is entitled Matsya, the Lord's fish incarnation. So we were reading yesterday how Matsya Bhagwan began to speak to King Satyavrata. After King Satyavrata offered prayers to Matsya Bhagwan, so what did Satyavrata Maharaj say? He said, "My Lord, you are the creator, maintainer and annihilator of this universe, of this creation, material creation, and you are the leader of all the devotees, and whatever activities you perform when you come here, they are only meant for the welfare of all living entities. So may I please know what is your mission in this particular form? Why have you taken this form? What is your mission? What welfare activity are you intending to do in this form?" Like that he questioned. So then Matsya Bhagwan replied to Satyavrata, King Satyavrata, that on the 7th day from today, there is going to be an inundation of the Bhur, Bhuva and Swarga lokas. Bhur Loka, Bhuvar Loka and Swarga Loka. Everything is going to be inundated. So at that time, a boat will appear in front of you, and I want you to take all the seeds, all the herbs, the saptarshis, and all different types of living entities into that boat, and I will be nearby. So I want you to tie this boat to my horn using Varuna Pasha, right? Vasuki. Using Vasuki as a rope, I want you to tie up this boat with my horn, and because this is going to be a time of devastation, so it's going to be like this until Lord Brahma wakes up. So during this time, Lord Brahma is going to sleep, and it's going to be dark everywhere. The only light will be the effulgence coming from the body of the Saptarshis, the sages, and I will be taking you around as long as Lord Brahma is sleeping. That's my pastime. So in that, we stopped at that verse where it is said that throughout Lord Brahma's night, when he's sleeping, I will be taking you around this boat. I will be pulling this boat on the ocean, giving a ride basically. So there's the question was, this is Chakshusha Manvantara, which is the 6th Manvantara. All the Manvantaras happened during the day of Brahma. Where did the night come from? So there we understood from Srila Rupa Goswami's Laghu Bhagavatamrita, where Srila Rupa Goswami quotes from Matsya Purana and then from Vishnu Dharmottara. From Matsya Purana, he said that this type of partial annihilation or pralaya happened even in Swayambhuva Manvantara because of a curse given by Agastya Muni to Swayambhuva Manu. Therefore, there was a pralaya during in Swayambhuva Manvantara. And again in Chakshusha Manvantara, towards the end, by the Lord's will, Brahmaji falls asleep for some time. So therefore, there is one pralaya in Chakshusha Manvantara. And then we saw the verses that come in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, the verses that are given by Srila Rupa Goswami, quoting this. So now we will continue from there. Text 39. Arunita, you're supposed to read.
Yes, Mataji.
Ittam adishya rajanam harir antaradhiyata sonvavaikshyatatam kalam yam hrishikesha adishat.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
After thus instructing the king, the Supreme Personality of Godhead immediately disappeared. Then King Satyavrata began to wait for the time of which the Lord had instructed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it was going to be the 7th day from that day. So Matsya Bhagwan, the whole pastime, he came as a small fish, and then all that happened in one day. The next day, right? He was already as big as he was huge. So then after this dialogue, Matsya Bhagwan instructed what to do and what is going to happen after saying this. He immediately disappeared. After instructing the king what to do, Matsya Bhagwan disappeared from there. And then the king was waiting for that time which was indicated by the Lord. That means he's now waiting. Sure, Mataji. Thank you. Okay. So next, Astirya Darbhan Prakulan Rajarshih Prag Udanmukha Nishasada Hare Padau Chintayan Matsya Rupinaha. Inba Inya, Jai Shri Mataji, Jai Ganesh Prabhu, whoever is ready.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam Gosha Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
After spreading Kusa with its tips pointing east, the saintly king, himself facing the northeast, sat down on the grass and began to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who had assumed the form of a fish.
Yes. So what is Maharaj going to do until that time? The Lord said on the 7th day. So meanwhile, what will he do? So Satyavrat Maharaj spread kusha grass. So this is the way of meditation. This is a paddhati, a procedure in Ashtanga Yoga. When you sit for meditation, you spread kusha grass, and also the grass is directed, the roots of the grass should be facing east. The roots of the grass should be facing east. And then on top of that kusha grass, usually they spread deer skin, and that is again covered by a cloth. So there's a science behind that. Deer skin, so that animals and snakes and scorpions, they don't come and disturb your meditation, and then they put a cloth. And kusha grass has significance, right? It is used for all spiritual activities in yagyas, like that. So the king, Satyavrata, he spread kusha grass with its tips pointing east, and he was facing northeast. So we see a similar description in Parikshit Maharaj's case also, when he decided to fast until Takshaka came, and that was also 7th day. Remember, 7 days. So he also took a vow of fasting until death, until that Takshaka snake bird came. And he also sat on Kusha grass, and there it is said the roots of the Kusha were faced towards east, and he was facing north, like that. So here also we see similar description, just similarity. So that's the procedure, right? So the king Satyavrata, he's also king, by the way. So he sat on the kusha with the tips pointing east, and he himself facing northeast, sat down on the grass and began to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who had assumed the form of a fish. ततः समुद्र उद्वेलः सर्वतः प्लावयन्महिं वर्धमानो महामेघैर्वर्षद्भिः समदृश्यता. In Bainya, are there, Prabhuji?
No, they are not available, Mataji.
Okay, when they come, they can read again.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah. Krishna, Shish, Isha, Madhava, Rasapriya, whoever is ready.
Thereafter, gigantic clouds pouring incessant water swelled the ocean more and more. Thus the ocean began to overflow onto the land and inundate the entire world.
Yes. As Satyavrat Maharaj was sitting on the kusha grass and he was meditating on Matsya Bhagwan, waiting for that time, it started raining, time of annihilation. At the time of annihilation, the raindrops fall like pillars. Some Vartaka clouds appear in the sky, and they pour big pillars of rainwater, and it just inundates the whole area, the universe. So therefore, gigantic clouds pouring incessant water swelled the ocean more and more. Thus the ocean began to overflow onto the land and inundate the entire world. ध्यायन् भगवद् आदेशं तदृशे नावमागतां ताम् आरुरोह विप्रेन्द्रैर् आदायौषधि विरुधः. Rasapriya, Madhava, Isha, not there?
As Satyavrata remembered the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he saw a boat coming near him. Thus he collected herbs and creepers, and accompanied by saintly Brahmanas, he got aboard the boat.
Yeah. So when this inundation happened and the ocean was overflowing onto the land, the whole land became covered by water. Satyavrata Muni remembered, of course, he meditated. He remembered what the Lord had said. And a boat also appeared right there. And the Lord said that he should tie this boat to the Lord, right? So first of all, the boat appeared. And he should collect all the seeds and all the herbs, medicinal herbs, and also all the types of living entities and Saptarishis, and get onto the boat. That's exactly what he did. When he saw the boat, he remembered the Lord's instruction, and he collected all the herbs and creepers, and accompanied by saintly Brahmanas, got onto the boat. Tam ऊचुर्मुनयः प्रीता राजन् ध्यायस्व केशवं सवैव नः सङ्कटाद् अस्माद् avitāsham vidhasyati. Madhava and Isha are here? No. Okay, next Kalpesh Prabhu and Sonia Mataji.
The saintly Brahmanas, being pleased with the king, said to him, O king, please meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava. He will save us from this impending danger and arrange for our well-being.
Yes, so that's why it is important to have, saintly personality, the association of saintly personalities The nature of this material world is such that we become bewildered. Yes, we become bewildered from time to time, either because of temptation or because of fear or just being illusioned, by so many things. We forget what is the goal of life. But when we have the association of saintly personalities, we are reminded again and again. This is not, you're getting distracted, right? So similarly, the saintly Brahmanas, they were very pleased that Satyavrata Maharaj, put them on the boat, and then they instructed Maharaj that don't worry, don't get bewildered by this situation. Can you imagine? This is pralaya, right? Everything is inundated. It's the end, right? It's the end of the world. Pralaya means what? Everything is inundated. And the sadhus are saying, saintly personalities are saying, don't worry, don't become bewildered, don't become disturbed and perturbed. You have full faith in the Lord. You meditate on the Supreme Lord. He will certainly protect us, like that. And by the way, this was the Lord's mission. So what did they say? Being pleased with the king, they said to him, O king, please meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava. Keshava means one who has beautiful hair, Keshava. So meditate on the Supreme Lord Keshava. He will save us from this impending danger and arrange for our well-being. Right? This is called Sharanagati. There are actually six symptoms of Sharanagati. Avashya Rakhive Krishna. Krishna will certainly protect me. To have this type of confidence, right? Even in the face of all dangers, when one has this confidence that certainly Krishna will protect me, that is a sign of surrender. So the sages are telling Satyavrat Maharaj, you don't become, don't worry, just meditate on Lord Keshava. He will save us from this impending danger and he will arrange for our well-being. सोऽनुध्यातस्ततो राज्ञा प्रादुरासीन् महार्णवे एकशृङ्गधरो मत्स्यो हैमो नियुतयो जनः. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Then, while the king constantly meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a large golden fish appeared in the ocean of inundation. The fish had one horn and was 8 million miles long. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the king was constantly meditating on Matsya Bhagavan. He was meditating since 7 days. Since the moment he saw Matsyadev and after he disappeared, he sat there and he was just meditating on him. And now this deluge came, and then the boat appeared, and he got everyone on the boat. And the saints instructed him, just keep meditating on the Lord, have faith, He will save us. And then Matsya Bhagavan also appeared. And what is the form? What is the appearance of Matsya Bhagavan? He was a golden fish, a large golden fish, and he had one horn, only one horn. And how big was he? 8 million miles long. Right. How long was Putana? How long was Putana? I think she was 100 yojanas. I think she's one. Huh?
60 feet tall.
Who? Putana? What? Was this on earth? Yeah, this was on earth. Satyavrat Maharaj. Yes, yes. Okay, you speak in the. We cannot hear you. You're not joined. Okay, Mataji, what were you saying? I think she was 8 miles long. Only 8 miles long. Putana was 8 miles long.
8 miles.
Yeah, because 1 mile is 1 yojana. One yojana equals 8 miles. Yes, Madhava, go ahead.
Was there enough space on Earth to fit Matsya Bhagavan?
How is this space? This is the, well, you see, when you say earth, the universe has upper, middle, and lower, right? So the middle part is called earth. And in that middle part, if you remember in the 5th canto, we read there is Bhumandala, right? And so many varshas. You have dvipas, Jambu Dvipa, all that is counted as the central earthly planet. Everything is inundated in water. And this is the ocean, by the way. Now there is no land anymore. It's like the diameter of the whole universe filled with water. How big is that? And for Matsya Bhagwan, what's the limit? He can just expand himself to like that fish when he came as a whatever what you put him in, he got as big as that. So he can become as big as the universe, and he can become bigger also. So your question was, how did such a big fish fit on Earth? Yeah, this is the whole universe now, actually, diameter. So I'm just comparing here. Matsya Bhagwan is 800 million. Can we even imagine what that is? 800 million miles long. And Satyavrat Maharaj is able to see also, even more. The wonderful thing is, he's actually seeing the whole fish. How is he able to see 8 million miles long fish? Just like Arjun saw the Virata Rupa. How did he see? The Lord gives the divine vision to see. Otherwise, it's not possible. We cannot even see the whole city of Philadelphia sitting in one place. And here Satyavrat Maharaj is seeing Matsya Bhagwan 800 million miles. I mean, I cannot even imagine that number. Sorry, not 800, 8 million. Even then, 8 million miles long. Next. Nibadhyanavam tachringe. So one more point here. Somebody says, oh, he's a fish. Yes, he's a fish. But where do you find a fish that is 8 million miles long? So even when he becomes a fish, nobody can compare to him. He is transcendental. Just like Srila Prabhupada says, some people want to compete with Krishna. Oh, Krishna had so many wives, we will also marry many wives. Yeah, Krishna had many wives, but he didn't have 2 wives or 100 wives or 500 wives. He had 16,108 wives, and that is married. And when he had gopis, he had unlimited number of gopis. So we cannot compete with him. Even if you think that, oh, some people, atheistic people and demoniac people, they try to criticize Krishna, that he is, materialistic or, like that, sense gratifier, things like that. But even if you said that, you cannot compete with him. However great sense gratifier you may be, you cannot compete with Krishna. He is the best in whatever he does. So here we see he's a fish, because earlier, why I am saying this, because the question had arisen about Matsya fish is such a low birth, right? Why would the Lord come as a fish? Even if he came as a fish, he's glorious. His body is transcendental. 8 million miles long, golden fish. This is Matsya Bhagwan. And Satyavrata Maharaj is seeing this form. Okay. Nibadhyanavam tachringe yathokto harina pura varatrena hina tushtas tushtava madhusudanam. So who is next? Usha Mataji and Medha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all praise to Srila Prabhupada, all praise to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Yes, go ahead.
Translation. Following the instructions formerly given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the king anchored the boat to the fish's horn, using the serpent Vasuki as a rope. Thus, being satisfied, he began offering prayers to the Lord.
Yes. So Matsya Bhagwan appeared first, the boat appeared, the king got onto the boat with all the seeds and creepers and the sages, brahmanas, and then the Lord also appeared, and we can assume Vasuki also appeared. So he tied the boat to the Lord's horn, And then he started offering prayers to Matsya Bhagwan. Sri Rajo Vacha Anadya Vidyo Pahatatma Samvidas Tanmula Samsara Parishramaturaha Yadrichayopasritar Yam Apnuyur Vimukti Donah Paramo Gurur Bhavan. Medha is there, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. The king said, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, and who because of this ignorance are involved in a material conditioned life full of miseries, obtain the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. I accept that Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Spiritual Master.
Yes. So Satyavrat Maharaj is offering prayers. He's saying, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, that is all of us, right? Since time immemorial, there is no beginning. Since when we are in this avidya. Losing self-knowledge means okay, thank you. So losing self-knowledge means not having paratattva jnanam, not understanding, not knowing that I am a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and I am meant for His service. Not having this knowledge, the conditioned souls in this world are engaging in various material. Everyone, the goal of all our activities is what? To become happy. Whoever you may be, whether you're a demigod, you're an animal, or you are a human being, or American, African, civilized, uncivilized, old, young, women, man, the goal is Anandamayo Bhyasat. We are all looking for happiness. We are all looking for Ananda. The only thing is, we are looking for it in the wrong place, in the wrong way. Everyone is looking for happiness. Why everyone is looking for happiness? Because that's our nature. Satchid Ananda Vigraha. The Lord is also Anandamayo Bhyasat. He is also looking for Ananda. So, but in the conditioned state, because we don't have that Paratattva Jnanam. What is that Paratattva Jnanam? That I am a part and parcel of the Supreme. When I engage in the service of the Supreme, that is the source of the greatest pleasure, greatest Ananda for me. I don't have this Paratattva Jnanam. And for how long have I been like this? There is no beginning. There is no beginning. Since Anadi, we have been in this situation. That's our position in this world. Now, what is Satyavrata Maharaj saying? The king said that those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial and who because of this ignorance, this is avidya, right? Not having that paratattva jnanam is called avidya, ignorance. Because of this ignorance are involved in a material conditional life full of miseries. So the way it happens is originally now we don't have Paratattva Jnanam. When we don't have Paratattva Jnanam, we become vulnerable to Maya. If we have Paratattva Jnanam, Maya has no control on us. She has no power on us. That's why Krishna says, Daivi Hiesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. It's impossible to overcome the effect of Maya. Mamevaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. But as soon as you worship the Supreme Lord, as soon as you surrender to the Supreme Lord, then Maya does not have any. That's the whole thing, right? That's the crux actually of Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita. When we surrender to Krishna, Maya will let go. But the point is, everyone in this material world Nobody is surrendering to the Lord. So this is her kingdom, her jurisdiction. She's playing with everyone. They're under her control. As long as we don't surrender to the Supreme Lord, we are under her control. We are puppets in her hands. But as soon as we surrender to the Supreme Lord, then she will step back. We are not in her jurisdiction anymore. We are not under her jurisdiction anymore. But when will one surrender to the Supreme Lord? That is the question. How will one surrender to the Supreme Lord? He has to he has to know that he is the Supreme and I am the subordinate. He does not have that Paratattva Jnanam to begin with. That is why Maya has covered him. And Maya's covering him means what is the effect of Maya's influence on this living entity, conditioned soul? One who does not have this Paratattva Jnanam, that means he is in avidya. Because of this avidya, when Maya covers, what is the effect? The effect of Maya's covering is he will forget that he is a spirit soul. Understand? Avidya means, okay, that is avidya, not having the knowledge that I am a spirit soul and servant of Krishna, that is avidya. Because of that avidya, now Maya covers. When Maya covers, what happens is, Mataji, Sonia Mataji, you tell me what happens. The first, there are two activities, right, of Maya. What happens first?
That Jivatma get illusion that they feel that themselves as a body.
Okay, yes. And the second step is? Maya has two effect. Yeah. First thing is he forgets that he's a spirit soul. First, by the influence of Maya, he forgets that he's a spirit soul, and then she gives him a material body. She gives a material body. Then she gives the subtle and gross bodies. And by giving the subtle and gross bodies, now he starts identifying himself with that body. I am this body. He enters into dualities. When he gets that body, he enters into dualities. By identifying with that body, he enters into dualities. And by entering into dualities, now he will experience
fear.
Fear. He will experience fear. Yes, thank you, Mataji. So you enter into fear. So that is the position of all. Everyone is experiencing fear, isn't it? Because we have our loved ones, we have our, whatever assets, this life, there's always fear that this will go away. And the worst, greatest type of fear is death. So everyone is always living in this fear. So this is when you have avidya and you're covered by Maya, the result is you're experiencing fear. And when you surrender to Krishna, yesterday I think we read, when you surrender to Krishna, what is a symptom of surrender? You become fearless. Because now Maya cannot act on you. So yes, going back again to Satyavrat Maharaj's prayer, he's saying, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, and who because of this ignorance are involved in a material conditional life full of miseries. So when you get a material body, Maya is the one giving you this material body, gross body, subtle body. Then you enter into dualities. What are dualities? This is my friend, this is my enemy. This is happiness, this is distress. This is good and this is bad. You enter and then you start acting according to that. You are, you like your friends and you do good things, and for your enemies, you don't like that. You start acting on the material platform. And when you act on the material platform, dualities, you'll also get miseries. So this conditional life is full of miseries. You become involved in material activities. But by the Lord's grace, such conditioned souls obtain the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. So what is the turning point in the life of such a conditioned soul who has been in avidya since time immemorial? When does he come out of this vicious cycle? How can we come out of this avidya? When the Lord appears, is that when we will actually come out? No, the Lord will not do anything. Because if he does something, then it becomes partiality on his part. If we say the Lord, by the Lord's mercy, one person comes out of this avidya, then why he is only bringing one person out of avidya and not another person out of avidya? He is partial. But Krishna claims, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, I am equal to everyone. But when one becomes a devotee, Maiteteshu Chapyaham. So how one becomes a devotee? So he will start extending himself to someone after he becomes a devotee, after he starts his bhajan, after he takes shelter of the Lord. But how this person will take shelter of the Lord if he does not have that Paratattva Jnanam? Why he will take shelter of the Lord? You may say Agyata Sukriti. Agyata Sukriti also how he will do? Unless he gets an opportunity. Sonia Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Lord sends their saintly persons, so we get associated with the sadhus and devotees, and there goes less mercy.
Yes.
Our devotion starts.
Yes. So the Lord does not, yes, the Lord helps, but he does not personally come to help. He helps by sending his devotees here from time to time. And the devotees are very merciful. And also he sends his scriptures, he leaves scriptures for us to guide us. And the devotees will be acting according to scriptures only. That's our only hope. So when we somehow or other come in touch with the devotee, that devotee will reveal to us what is there in the scripture. He will reveal to us that we are supposed to surrender to the Supreme Lord, and then we begin our devotional activities. Once we begin our devotional activities, then we attract the Lord's mercy. Then he says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena maham payantite. Then he comes and he will help. But someone who is in avidya all the time, since time immemorial, the Lord is not coming directly to. That is done by the sadhus. Therefore, our only hope is sadhus. For the conditioned souls who are here in this world since time immemorial, that's why it is said by the Lord's grace. But how is the Lord's grace coming? By the Lord's grace, one obtains the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. You get the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. How is it the Lord's grace? Because the Lord is sending his devotees to this world. Now, is the Lord dictating to the devotee, you go and deliver this person and that person? No, the Lord is not dictating. The devotee is so merciful. He chooses. He will pick who he wants to give mercy to. And the Lord's mercy will follow the devotee's mercy, not otherwise. It's not that the devotee's mercy will come when the Lord's mercy comes. It's not like that. That's not the philosophy. When a devotee shows mercy, then the Lord's mercy will follow the devotee's mercy. That's what it means when Krishna puts himself in the hands. You can sell me to whoever you like. We were reading in Chaitanya Bhagavad. Kolavecha Sridhar. He's such a devotee, the Lord says, you can sell me to whoever you like. That means if that devotee wants someone to wants to give Krishna consciousness to that person, then that person will get Krishna consciousness. Why? Because the Lord goes to that person. Because this devotee wants. Advaita Acharya is praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the Supreme Lord. The devotee is praying, the Lord is coming for the devotee. And then Advaita Acharya wants to deliver all these people. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivers everyone. Nityananda Prabhu wanted to deliver Jagai Madhai. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered them. That's how it happens. When a devotee wants to deliver, when a devotee shows mercy, the Lord's mercy will follow. So then how is it the Lord's grace? The Lord is sending the devotees to this world. The Lord is sending. Prahlad Maharaj was sent to Hiranyakashipu's home. This is the Lord's mercy. But by Prahlad Maharaj's teaching, so many of us are getting delivered. This is Prahlad Maharaj's desire. It is his mercy. And following Prahlad Maharaj's mercy, then Nrsimhadev, the Supreme Lord, is delivering. So this point is explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur at the beginning of Madhurya Kadambini. How the Lord's mercy always follows a devotee's mercy. So here once again, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, and who because of this ignorance are involved in a material conditional life full of miseries, obtain the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. Yes. I accept that Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Spiritual Master. He's praying to Matsya Bhagavan. Okay. Purport. So, Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu. I'm just going in alphabetical order. Medha read. So, Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu, and then Priyanka Mataji, and then Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Purport. Purport, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the Supreme Spiritual Master. The Supreme Lord knows everything about the suffering of God, and therefore He upon this an incarnation, and sometimes by authorizing a living being to act on His behalf. Now, he says, however, He is the original spiritual master who enlightens the conditioned soul who are suffering in the material world. The Lord is always busy helping the conditioned souls in many ways. Therefore, He is addressed here as Paramo Guru Bhavan, the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who acts to spread Krishna consciousness. Is also guided by the Supreme Lord to act properly in executing the Lord's order. A person may
Your voice is not audible.
is not to be neglected as
It's okay. Go
it
ahead,
is
Prabhu.
therefore said. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Your voice was breaking, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not able to see the screen, Mataji.
You're not able to see the screen. Okay. Did you finish the paragraph?
Yeah, last two lines are there.
Yeah, just
Mataji.
finish. Just finish it, Prabhuji. Yeah, I'll read it again after you. Just finish it.
Yeah, it is therefore said, Acharyam Mam Vijnaniyai. And
Vijaniya.
Acharya Vijaniya. An Acharya who acts on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be understood as good as Supreme Lord himself.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, I'll just read that. साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव साध्वी किन्तु प्रभुर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्. Spurti or Surud will read.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
Has advised that the spiritual master as Supreme Lord that
Behalf.
behalf must be worshipped as being as good as the Supreme Lord. For He is the Lord's most confidential servant in broadcasting the Lord message benefit of the conditioned souls involved in the material world.
Yes. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge, or that we read. So by the Lord's mercy, we meet with a devotee of the Lord, and The Supreme Lord is the spiritual master. That's the point. So in the purport we are reading, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the supreme spiritual master. The Supreme Lord knows everything about the suffering of the conditioned soul, and therefore he appears in this material world, sometimes personally, sometimes by an incarnation, and sometimes by authorizing a living being to act on his behalf. In all cases, however, he is the original spiritual master who enlightens the conditioned souls who are suffering in the material world. Yes. The Lord is always busy helping the conditioned souls in many ways. Therefore, he is addressed here as Paramo Gurur Bhavan, the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who acts to spread Krishna consciousness, is also guided by the Supreme Lord to act properly in executing the Lord's order. Such a person may appear to be an ordinary human being, but because he acts on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Spiritual Master, he is not to be neglected as ordinary. So the Spiritual Master, actually our whole parampara, Guru parampara, that's why it is said Guru is one. Guru Tattva, Guru means Guru Tattva. Who is Guru Tattva? Lord Balaram or Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So our immediate spiritual master may look like an ordinary person, like me. He is also a human being, 2 hands, 2 legs, and he, so on and so forth. He also eats rice, dal, and sabji. So how is he greater than me? Some materialistic person may think like that. But here the point is actually originally the spiritual master is the Supreme Lord only. Yes? Originally the spiritual master is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All others in that parampara are his representatives. That means he is only reaching out through his representatives. So therefore, we should not consider the spiritual master to be an ordinary person, because he is acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord. If he is not acting on behalf of you can also have bogus gurus, right? So that means he should speak only what the Lord is saying. He cannot say something which the Lord, he cannot speak. Like we recently read Vamandev's pastime. Shukracharya was the spiritual master of Bali Maharaj, and Shukracharya was forbidding Bali Maharaj from surrendering everything to Vamandev. He was saying, no, don't give him. You can even go back on your promise to Vamandev. Then should we consider, oh, he's my guru, and therefore, I must not see him as an ordinary person. I should carry out whatever he is telling me to do. No. Because guru means he is a representative of the Supreme Lord. He cannot give an instruction which is against the Supreme Lord. Then you can reject such a guru. For that, to know what is the Lord's mission, you should also be educated in Shastra. So that you can understand if a guru is deviating or if a guru is proper, bona fide. So anyway, here guru is acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, you should respect the guru as much as you respect the Supreme Lord, because actually guru means originally the Supreme Guru is the Supreme Lord only. All others coming in the disciplic succession, they are acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord. They become transparent agencies or transparent agents of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is coming to us through the Guru. So he is the original Supreme Guru. That's the point. So that's what we sing in the morning. Every morning, Guru Ashtakam. There's the 7th shloka. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra. All the Shastras declare that Guru is Sakshad Hari. Uktas tatha bhavyata eva sadbhi. But Kintu Prabhurya Priya eva tasya.
The Guru never thinks that now, because all the Shastras are saying that I am Hari, therefore he will demand from his disciples, yes, I am Hari, now you serve me, like Hiranyakashipu did. He is not even a Guru, but he demanded, I am Hari, everyone worship me. Will a Guru say that? No. The Guru is a very dear servant of the Supreme Lord. He is a very dear servant of the Supreme Lord. So the disciple should worship the Guru as a very dear servant of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he should be given the same respect as the Supreme Lord. Just like you have an ambassador of another country visiting, then that ambassador is treated with all respect that you show to the president of that country. Yes, you should show that respect because he is representing the president and is coming. And if you insult this ambassador means you are actually insulting the president. So the way we worship the spiritual master, that is actually showing how we are worshipping the Supreme Lord. That's the point here. So this is Satyavrat Maharaj's prayer, first prayer to Matsyadev. He's saying that you are my supreme spiritual master. Because of your grace, the conditioned souls who are conditioned since time immemorial, they get a chance to come out of this conditioning by meeting a devotee. This is happening by your grace. You are the supreme spiritual master. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has advised that the spiritual master acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord must be worshipped as being as good as the Supreme Lord, for he is the Lord's most confidential servant in broadcasting the Lord's message for the benefit of the conditioned souls involved in the material world. Yeah, he is working for the benefit of the conditioned souls. This is the Lord's mission. Like that. So we will stop here. So Suhrud read and Prabhuji read. Tomorrow Swarnangi Mataji and Spurti will begin. And then we'll continue with Achit Priya Mataji and Achintadev Prabhu, like that. Let's read Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad. You also didn't read. Sorry, Mataji.
Yeah, Priyanka Mataji and then myself and then...
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry. I forgot because now I changed, right? Narsimhalila Prabhu N. So that's why I went in that order.
That's okay.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you very much. Yes. And also, just if you don't understand the system that I'm following, what I'm doing is it's easier to go with one family at a time because sometimes or many times not everyone is logged in with their names. One family, everyone is there. So I just take all the people from one family at a time and then go to the next. So I pick any one name from that family. Usually I take that name which comes before. So I take one member of the family whose name comes before and I go in that order. For example, Meda and Usha Mataji, M comes before, so I just put Meda first, like that. Isha, I take Isha first. Same with Inya, I'll take them first, like that. So I hope it's okay. So tomorrow we will start with Priyanka Mataji. Yes, actually we'll start with Spurti, Swarnangi Mataji. Then we'll go to Priyanka Mataji, Saujanya Mataji, like that.
Yes, Mataji. No problem. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. All right. So let's read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 56. Please repeat. Sarva karmanya pisada kurvano madvyapashrayaha mat prasadad avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. So we read Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Yes. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. When you become a devotee, even though you may engage in all sorts of activities, I'll explain that to you. Then my pure devotee, okay, this is important. So you can be engaged in all sorts of activities and still be a pure devotee. Again, as soon as you hear pure devotee, what should come to your mind? Let's see. What should come to your mind when you hear pure devotee? Sorry.
Anyavilashita
Anyavilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulena krishnanashtam. These conditions should come to your mind immediately when you hear a pure devotee. So here Krishna is saying, yeah, Ananya Bhakti. This definition is for Ananya Bhakti. So here, when one becomes my pure devotee, that means Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, he cannot do any Jnana or Karma. But here Krishna is saying, though he is engaged in all kinds of activities, so Jnana Karmadi Shunyam means he is not doing any Jnana Karma. Avritam means being covered. Anavritam means not being covered. That means even though he may be doing all sorts of activities, those activities cannot cover his bhakti. That means he's continuously, there's no gap like a continuous line. He's continuously at every moment doing bhakti. And even though he does some karma or jnana, that karma or jnana cannot interrupt his bhakti. How is that possible? What is bhakti? What is bhakti? Okay, tell me what is bhakti?
Seva.
Seva, very good. How do you explain it, seva?
Any action done by body, mind, and speech continuously
That is seva. Any action that you do with body, mind.
for the pleasure of Krishna.
For Krishna, yes. Which brings you in direct touch with Krishna. Yes. That activity is called seva. So, even if you're doing with your body some activity, then your tongue or mind will be continuously in touch with Krishna, doing seva to Krishna. Or with your mouth, you're doing something else, right? You're giving a presentation in your company somewhere, but your mind will be constantly absorbed in Krishna. How is that possible? It is possible. It is possible to do both at the same time. We have examples of Bharat Maharaj. He was constantly chanting. Although externally he was doing all his duties, his lips were constant. Even in his sleep, he was chanting. It is possible. Then you will be Ananya Bhakta. So, here, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, previous verse. Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha, Krishna said. So, Sarva Dharman Parityajya means, actually, I think we did Brahma Bhuta Prasanna, right? We didn't do Sarva, sorry, one second. We did Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, previous 55. Yes. Sorry, we did Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. Okay. One second. "54 Brahmabhuta Prasannatma." Yes. And then the 54 said Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. After coming to Brahmabhuta platform, the next stage is then you enter into Bhakti. So therefore 55 is talking about Bhakti. Because when someone is doing Bhakti, it is understood that he is already liberated. That's the point. So Brahmabhuta Prasannatma brings you to the liberated platform, and the next, a devotee doesn't stop at the liberated platform, because liberated platform is realizing Brahman, but there's more after that to realize Paramatma and Bhagavan. So the next verse says, but you can understand me as I am. That's not possible simply by realizing Brahman. That is only possible by bhakti, it is said. Okay, so here that is pure devotional service. And then when one becomes my pure devotee, today's verse, right? What happens? Even he may be engaged in all types of activities, because he is under my protection, he reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. If you become a pure devotee, you will go to the Lord's kingdom. And it's only possible to go there when you become a pure devotee, otherwise not. Purport. The word Mad Vyapashrayaha means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day. See? This is a pure devotee. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day. 100%. 100%, not that little bit of karma, little bit of bhakti. No. 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, so to this devotee, who's a pure devotee, who's engaged 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord, to a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, he is eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge. So, our struggle is to just become a pure devotee. That's all. If we can become a pure devotee, then we have no doubts whatsoever that we won't go to the Lord's kingdom or anything. There's no doubt. The whole problem is in coming to the stage of pure devotional service. So our endeavor should be coming closer and closer to being a pure devotee. That's our endeavor. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Continuation. So who's saying this? Dr. Zakir Hussain. So Srila Prabhupada's first volume, remember? First volume of Bhagavatam, first canto, he printed and is distributing. He had, I think, total 1100 copies he got printed, but he didn't pay for the whole thing. So they gave him, the printing press gave him, the printer gave him 200 copies. So he would personally go and distribute. And after distributing, then whatever money he got, he would pay that to the printer and he would give the second installment of books to go and sell, and then like that. So what did Srila Prabhupada do? He placed 50 copies in different libraries, and immediately he's getting response. People are actually appreciating the the authenticity in which it was presented. So the then Vice President of India, Dr. Zakir Hussain, also gave a review. I have read your book Srimad Bhagavatam with great interest and much profit. I thank you again for the kind thought which must have prompted you to present it to me. The favorable reviews, although Bhaktivedanta Swami could not pay the printer with them, yes, you have to pay money. He got good reviews, favorable reviews. So he couldn't pay the printer with the good reviews, right? But still, these reviews indicated a serious response. The book was valuable, and subsequent volumes and some libraries ahead of time they ordered, right? For the next another 50, the next volume they already ordered, like that. So subsequent volumes would earn the series even more respect. By Krishna's grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami had already completed many of the translations and purports for volume 2. Even in the last weeks of printing the first volume, he had been writing day and night for the second volume. It was glorification of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and therefore it would require many, many volumes. He felt impelled to praise Krishna and describe him in more and more volumes. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had said that the presses of the world would not print fast enough the glories of Krishna and the spiritual world that were being received at every moment by pure devotees. Yes? People said, you are going to print a daily? how you'll get so much material for a daily, newspaper. Yes, they get so much news, but spiritual subjects every day, where will you get the material? What is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saying? At every moment, pure devotees are getting revelations of Krishna and the spiritual world. So many revelations that the pure devotees get. All the printing presses in the world, they cannot work fast enough to keep up with all the revelations that a pure devotee gets about Krishna and the spiritual world. They cannot keep up with it. So much is there. And of course, Srila Prabhupada explained that this material world is only a small percent of the entire creation. If we have so many newspapers and so many channels giving news and hourly news and this and that, just for this small material world, can you imagine how much news there must be in the spiritual world? Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to return to Vrindavan for several months of intensive writing on volume 2. This was his real business at Radha Damodar temple. So why did Prabhupada come to Delhi for printing and distributing? That couldn't be done in Vrindavan. But in Vrindavan, he wanted to write. His business in Radha Damodar temple is to write. Vrindavan was the best place for writing transcendental literature. That had already been demonstrated by the Vaishnava Acharyas of the past, living in simple ease, taking little rest and food. He continually translated the verses and composed his Bhaktivedanta purports for volume 2. After a few months, after amassing enough manuscript pages, he would return to Delhi and once again enter the world of publishing. So he came to Vrindavan now to complete volume 2. Then again he would go back to Delhi for printing, like that. So thank you all so much, dear devotees, for joining this morning. We will end here. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. We'll meet again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
And
Hare
just
Krishna.
one
Hare
note,
Krishna.
today evening at ISKCON Philadelphia, His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj is coming. Please, 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 I request all of you, anyone who is able to go, please go and take his association. He's such a wonderful Vaishnava. And yeah, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. You will experience that. So if you get an opportunity, you make that opportunity if you're able to go, please go and take association of His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj. And you can send me a message. If all of you are going, then I will cancel Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Okay? So let me know. Priyanka Mataji.
At what time, Mataji? At what time Maharaj is coming?
Kalpesh Prabhu, I think 6, they around 6, but 6 o'clock is Aarti, 6:30 is Aarti. So I'm thinking Maharaj will be there for Aarti, and after Aarti, I think he'll give class, maybe from 7.
Okay.
But they announced
Thank
from
you.
6 o'clock. They said 6 to 8. So I think he'll be there, for Aarti and after
Okay.
that.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Also, he is giving a class for Srimad Bhagavatam in the morning.
Today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh, okay. Tomorrow Bhagavatam class by Maharaj. Okay. Very nice. So we'll end early tomorrow. So we will listen from Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you.